Squash XL Pro is an elite team that work hard to train, play and run squash events on our journey to climb the world rankings. Like, subscribe, comment, pick up some of our merch on Teespring.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome in for this, the first of the men's semi-finals here at the Doug Flint Memorial, the PSA Satellite Tournament at the Eden Epsom Club in Auckland. And great to see so many different players around, different grades as well being played in this tournament. It is a fairly warm afternoon in Auckland and feeling it inside the club rooms and on the courts as well. But now joining me is Gabe Yan. And Gabe, great to have you with us, and great to have you, well, I was about to say great to have you in the country, but I'm not sure whether it is or not. I think you'd rather be back in the States, right?
Yeah, well, actually, I was supposed to go there last September, but due to COVID and everything, all the squash facilities are closed in the U.S., so it's kind of better for me to be here right now. But,
well, yeah. When potentially can you go back?
Most likely, we were supposed to go back this April actually, but it's looking pretty grim right now. But I reckon probably this September, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that'll be effectively a year back at home when you're meant to be studying.
I know.
It's a little crazy, but that's the whole world, I guess.
Yeah, a bit disappointing, but I guess we just adapt.
Yep.
Yeah.
And whereabouts have you been at university in the States?
So I go to the same school as me and Matthew go to the same school, Drexel University in Philadelphia.
Okay.
He's already been down there for a year. I'm yet to go still. I'm just waiting, but...
So you have gone, but you haven't gone?
No, I haven't gone, but I study online here. So I study, I'm basically just doing online class in the US, but in New Zealand. Yeah.
It's just such a bizarre situation.
Yeah, I know,
there's so many different things.
It's crazy, yeah.
Whether it's the semi-professional or professional players here, and then the professional players like Joel King and Paul Cole, who are sort of playing, but then they're not playing, and now they're going to be back at playing again.
I know.
It's just the way of the world.
It is a weird situation, definitely. But
yeah, I mean, I guess in the long term, there's so many other people that are a lot worse off. You're not getting to play squash as such, but
definitely.
At least you're healthy.
Exactly, and we have the opportunity to still play tournaments and train here. I mean, a lot of places in the world don't have the opportunity, so it's great.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, New Zealand's not a bad place. I mean, I know you'd rather be studying overseas, but it's not so
pretty
bad.
free here. Yeah.
Exactly.
We're not really restricted in many things. It's great.
So it looks as though we had the wrong Chileshe out there. I mean, that is the right Chileshe, but it was said the wrong one.
No, Temwa.
I mean, hey, they end up playing the same tournament so often it doesn't really matter. All right, well, we should be in for a fairly, what would you call it, a drawn-out match between these two?
Yeah,
they know each other so well.
Definitely. I mean, when you train with someone basically every day for such a long period of time, you're essentially playing against a mirror. You read the shots, you can tell basically what they're gonna do. Yeah.
Well, it's hard to come up with anything new, isn't it? I mean, you've played enough people at the same time.
Yeah. I guess it's just a test of discipline. You can hang in the longest. It's definitely different to playing a player in a new tournament that you've never played before. It's not gonna be the same.
Well, certainly, Joel in particular likes to draw out his matches.
Yeah.
Lwamba's probably a bit more attacking. Would that be correct?
Well, Joel's game mainly revolves around pace, and he just likes to take the ball early and keep applying pressure, and usually that's what makes his opponents crack. Lwamba they are similar in ways, but Lwamba definitely has more for sure.
Yeah. Well, I think you were in the crowd last week for the 5-game drama of Joel against Evans, where he had 4 match balls and was at the third.
Yeah. I mean, that was a great match. It's pretty impressive how Evan kept plugging on even after.
Oh, off his feet there. It was quite nice positioning though up until then by Joel. He was dominating the tee and just didn't really have to move from there.
Yeah.
But just one good return from Lwamba, just creating it.
Great shot there. Yeah, it's one of Joel's strengths is holding down the middle of the court. He's very strong around the middles. He's got good movements. Really putting in that boast in beforehand. It's pretty fast pace. I wonder if they can keep it up.
That's what I want to see from these two players, is change the pace a little bit.
Yeah,
when they do, it
pace.
helps, doesn't it?
Definitely, yeah. It can mess the rhythm of your opponent just by the occasional lob.
A lot of their shots are hit at a similar pace, about 3/4, maybe 80-90% pace.
Yeah.
And they've just got to change it up a little bit every now and then.
Yeah. There's lots of
Let's use the back corner.
interesting choice of shot.
Yeah.
First post. Great lob.
The point just slowed down a little bit. Started off fast, now slowing it down. Let's see who can change.
Starting to settle down.
Yep.
Pretty low ceiling on these courts.
Well, what we've seen is when it hits deep into the corners on most courts, the ball does fade a little bit. So I'd like to see them really plug deep. That's it. We got it back nicely. Almost got behind him.
It's a good way to stroke.
That's a good shot. Got himself into position now.
The ball's pretty
And use
lively.
it.
They're down, so you can see it's kind of hard for them to hit winners. So
Okay.
good working rally.
Yeah, I mean, they really had to be so patient there. No one was able to find that shot to really put away. Although I expected the ball was on almost a smash, but I'd like to see Lwamba really do a little bit more with it.
I mean, he's really hitting the winners on the forehand boast is working really well. You can see. Joel's not really doing anything spectacular at the moment. Just keeping the ball. It's a great line.
You could just see the ball just drop a little bit, and Lwamba had to sort of try and drag it off the ground almost.
Scoop it up,
This has been one of the few rallies that we've stuck to the same wall so far. And there we go, just the change now.
Players usually tend to like to rally in the backhand side more than
Right.
forehand side. Good lob.
There we go, just a real deep. If they can get it to go deep, they've certainly got the advantage. There was a great lob featured in that rally as well by Joel.
It's a good variation of pace.
And they're certainly having to work hard for a point. So far in this match, we haven't seen the free points. No one's just had an unforced error. I think that's the other thing. If you can stay away from giving away 2 or 3 unforced points,
You're definitely putting yourself in an advantage, definitely.
Well, there's the unforced error that we're talking about, right?
Wouldn't say that was the wrong shot though. It was just a good opportunity to go for that.
Now, what about Joel? Always tends to hold his racket up the grip a little bit more than most players.
Yeah, I think that's just his style. He has a very compact swing. And I think that's helps.
Yeah, you don't see a few players, but it's not that common in New Zealand anyway.
Definitely not. No. Players tend to, but when you slide your hand up the grip, you tend to get more control with the ball. Yeah, usually it's more of an old school tactic.
Oh, stuck on the wall. Now, notice that even in your game last night as well, there was a few balls that were just almost sticking to the wall.
Yeah, it's very hard to get off the sidewall once it's glued.
Was that the ball or the atmosphere? Or what
I think it's just the court. Right. Some courts, like when you hit it tight, you really get rewarded with points. Definitely.
Yeah, it just seemed a lot more than say Henderson last week.
Definitely. Yeah. The courts in Henderson were a lot more dead though.
Right.
These courts are very lively.
Okay.
Very bouncy. Lasts for much longer.
What about the courts at Belmont, where you spend a lot of time?
They're mostly just a true bounce court. So I wouldn't say they're either dead or bouncy. It's just a good balance of both.
It's so fascinating when a wall's a wall, but
it's I know. Not. It makes such a big difference. Yeah, definitely.
Well, had the point advantage there, but just giving it away.
It's 2 unforced errors in the second half of the game. It's pretty crucial.
If you took away those 2 unforced errors, I'm not saying you would have won both those points, but certainly you've given away 2 points. It was always going to be a tight shot. It was going to be a winning shot, perhaps, if it could have come back and stayed low, but it was just too tight.
He didn't have to go that low, and that could have just been a working drop.
Oh, there's a second one. Oh, that's a little bit surprising.
Yeah, very risky to go for that shot off serve.
And I understand, Gabe, your partner in crime there, Matt Vicente, won the B grade last week. You've been given a few hassles about that.
Yeah, I mean, he had really had no choice because he's not registered in the PSA, so he couldn't join the main draw.
So a bit of a robber, you think?
Yeah, maybe you could say that. He just wanted a good warm-up tournament, for the season.
Okay, well there he goes. His first tournament win is the Henderson B grade.
Ticked off the calendar.
So there you go, the first game, 11-9. There was no real set pattern in that one, Gabe. I think just a couple of unforced errors at the end. I mean, if you're going to do unforced errors, do them early on, not the end. And that's really what happened there with Joel. So the first game going to Lwamba Chileshe, 11-9. Back with the second game in just a moment. And now back for the second game of this, the first of the men's semi-final. And the first game was 11-9 to Lwamba Chileshe, although it was a bit tight to start with, and looked as though Joel ARSCOTT might have a little bit of a lead. Lwamba worked his way back in after a couple of unforced errors near the end of the game. And Gabe Yam, Gabe, I guess we can't expect anything new, just it's going to be tight most of the way, isn't it?
Yeah, I'd say that the game was very close. The only thing that separated with them was the unforced errors. It's very hard to name a winner right now.
And we've got some friends watching. Don't forget, you can comment on Vicente being a B-grade player at Henderson. We don't mind about that. He's sitting down from us a little bit, so he can't hear us right now. He can play it back. But also, people enjoying hearing what you have to say there, Gabe. Catherine Yam actually saying the same thing. It's nice when you have family doing that.
Yeah.
If no one else likes you, at least your family might.
Yep.
I'm not saying you personally.
It's just the unconditional love.
All right, so first couple of points, and we're even, Stephen. Let's just see if we're going to see a little bit of variety.
Bit of a front drop game going on.
Recovered so quickly.
A lot of movement.
But, I mean, Joel looked as though he was out of position and recovered so quickly to get himself back in. That's something he does very well.
Yeah, true. One of his strengths is definitely his movement.
Yeah. I'd like to see, having watched him play a lot over the last couple of years, I'd like to see him be. I know it's not always his game, but I'd like to see him attack a little bit more.
Yeah.
Because we know he can receive and recover and get back in it.
Mm-hmm. That'd really complete him as a player, I think.
Yeah.
That's a great shot, though.
But I mean, that may come. He's, what is he, 21 now or thereabouts?
Yeah.
20, turning 21. And he can. So he's got one strength. Now let's add that next bit.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it's like Paul Colt going from 10 to upwards and now to 4.
It can be very hard to develop a front game, though, for someone that doesn't have it naturally. For Paul, it took him a couple of years at least. Yeah. Maybe more.
I mean, watching you play, you were so fit and just ran and ran and ran in the nicest possible way. I'm sure there were some killer shots there.
Yeah.
But it was your strength, was being able to get to everything. And the other night, in fact, last night against Tim, was it against Tim?
Yeah.
It seems like a long time ago. It was probably just a lack of match practice.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I actually had an ankle injury December to January, so I haven't been able to play much. It's only been the past 3 weeks since I've been able to train, so I'm just trying to get back into the swing of things, get a lot of training back in, be back on.
And was it fun though?
Yeah, definitely. Feels good to be back in the scene. Yeah.
You see the slice under there, the ball was going to come off the wall and stay so low, wasn't it? What I like to see, I mean, I guess it's a theme with me as going forward, and actually when Lwamba takes the ball on the full, he just has that extra bit of advantage of where am I going to go.
Definitely, his volleys are really good. It's a bit loose though.
Ooh, what do you think?
I think that's a 50-50. I'd give it a let myself. May seem a bit, it's tough though.
I mean, that's the thing. Do you, when you were playing interclub, did you enjoy being reffing the next person's game? I bet you didn't.
If they were choppers, then no. But if they were good players, probably. Yeah.
Good recovery. A lot of scrambling here by Lwamba so far on this point.
Oof. It's a good shot.
He's controlled this point well, Joel.
It's a great lob though. Very tough shot to play.
There was a lot of work put into that point by both players.
He's trying to lift his way out of trouble, Lumby there.
And you can feel that we're in the second game, but it feels as though it's got a long
Rallies
time.
are pretty lengthy, yeah.
Gee, that was a good shot from back in the quarter bet as well.
Yeah, off the serve, definitely.
He just sort of came under it a little bit,
Came under it, cut it a bit, yeah.
but
Stayed
still
very
was able to
short.
drive. I don't know.
It's pretty deceptive, yeah. lucky.
Is that a bit of a shank there?
Yeah, a bit of a frame. It's just very tight.
And also great to have Pete Van Hasselt joining us. If that's the Pete from basketball, I might know, I'm not sure, but great to have people joining in to actually watch this, the semi-final. Remembering that we have had the first women's semi finished, and that was Emma Miller winning in 4 games over Ella Lash.
Yeah.
And well done there for Ella Lash playing a good match.
Good effort from her there.
15 years old. Oh, nice drive through. Hard hitting in this rally so far.
Pace has gone up. Hard drive.
Oh,
It's the low ceiling.
I think it was set up there by a couple of good shots
Drives, yeah.
by Joel, and then eventually we had Lwamba try and move forward and just pushing it up too high.
I think it's been the loose cross courts that have been opening up the court for him. That's why he's down this guy.
Oh,
That's an ace. It's an ace. You don't see that often.
but-
You do not see that often.
yeah, don't you? That's just one of those things you hate. The thing is, he was there, but maybe
It
the
hit
ball
the
just
neck. Yeah.
it,
It was
did
rolling
it
out.
clip the back wall.
Back wall, front wall joint, yeah.
Yeah, again.
It's a tough call. Thought he was
Just
shooting.
because Lwamba was having to really scramble then. He
He
was
needed that break. It's a good 3-point lead here.
down for the count in that one, but saved by the let.
Squeezed in.
Yeah. Oh, you've got to take the points or the calls that go your way, and so far on this one it has. But we've seen a couple of mishits in this particular game from Lwamba, which is unusual. A little shank and then a mishit here and there. That's nice.
Good straight work. It's that low cross court.
I'm just looking at the positioning of Joel. He's been taking the centre again.
That's when he's most strongest, when he's in the center of the court. Good get.
Oh,
Shot, yeah.
he knows it on that one.
Yeah. It's a good rally.
Yeah, a little bit unfortunate for Joel. He whipped himself back into the rally and then played one straight back at himself. Just one of those things, isn't it, Gabe, where you just you play so well and
I
then
know, and then
strike.
that happens. Yeah.
Yeah.
It can be pretty demoralizing.
So a nice little fight back. Oh,
That's insane.
yeah. I was about to say nice fight
flat
back. We
roll.
go for 7-all, and then that happens. Just it
shot.
was in the perfect position. But
Yeah.
that doesn't mean you're going to hit a winner, does it?
Definitely.
So 8-6. So the 2-point advantage, and it's around about here that a player starts to think, well, make that.
Definitely can't hit tins when you're that much down.
So the thinking is you're serving, you've got 2 more points to go to take the game. 3 points away from the opposition. You should be thinking positive,
Yeah, you
but you should
definitely
be
be
doing
confident. Yeah.
the same thing though. You shouldn't be changing your
No,
plans.
definitely not. If anything, you just up the pace and just try to get it done. It's a great lob.
nice depth on the shots
a
now,
great layup.
and
It's a great length. It's a bullet.
I think throughout that rally we were seeing good depth, good length. And in that last one, it paid off because the ball just stayed so low.
Yeah, definitely. Glued to the wall. It's that 3-wall boast again on the forehand side. It's really working Joel.
So the boast for Lwamba has worked.
It has been working pretty well, yeah. I'd say.
He's just sort of hanging in there. Only 1 point behind us.
I know. It's a good response from him.
I mean, even in the first game, he hung in a little bit as well. Ooh, that was
just out. He's like over 3-point lead. Just like
and
that.
it always fascinates me about what's out in so many different sports. With tennis on the lines and with badminton, same thing.
Yeah,
But with squash, it's not.
No,
And then
exactly.
football and rugby are different as well. I
Yeah.
think, you know, it's just. It's just picked up.
Lumby's up this game slightly towards the end of this game.
That's good. And there we go.
He's gone to the
So
goes to the back
from
pretty well.
6-9 down, he's now got
4
game ball
straight
again.
points. Joel may have let him back in. Going straight very well, London.
It's really playing the
The
depth
face
better.
here, yeah. Kind of loose there. Good length again. Went for it. Oh! It's a terrible turn.
Well, in that particular rally, what we saw was some good depth into the forehand corner from both players. And certainly Lwamba thought he was in a position to win that.
Yeah, he could have just hit it deep, I reckon. Just going for a bit too much there.
Scoop up.
It's tight. He's not balanced enough to play that shot.
No, yeah, the footwork just wasn't
Yeah.
quite there. It was more of a use one big step instead of taking a couple of little steps.
That's better. It's a good hole in that volley. Shots.
There you go, it's good boast.
He's got it.
Oh, did he?
He definitely got that.
It was good.
Yeah. He definitely got that.
Looked good to you. It was,
Yeah,
I
it
mean,
did.
seeing it at such quick time.
I think he just got his racket underneath that.
I think the way he hit the next shot.
Yeah, it's just that he kind of like jammed it, so it spin made it.
Yeah, you can jam your racket down into the ground just as the ball's hitting it there.
Yeah.
That makes it look
Skateboard
okay.
wheels, what they call it. Yeah.
So certainly an interesting second game there, and a good little comeback and a good fight back there from Lwamba Chileshe as he goes up 2-0. And with Gabe Yam and Dave Worsley here, we'll be back with the third game very shortly. Well, so far a very exciting first semi-final with Lwamba Chileshe up against Joel ARSCOTT. These two players know each other's games so well. However, it is Lwamba Chileshe up by 2-0, albeit that it's been tough, and at times he hasn't looked as though he was going to win. And Gabe Yam, 2-0, is that giving you any indication of this particular third game where it might go?
I think Lwamba's going to ride off that confidence, but we may see a response here from Joel. I think he's definitely want to get a set at least off. He doesn't want to go down 3-love, I'm sure. I'm sure he's going to come off firing this game.
Well, it's warm on the court, but for someone like you, and these players as well, but for someone like you played in Malaysia, I think, at World Juniors, or India,
Malaysia,
World Juniors.
India, yeah. Those, steaming. I mean, I wouldn't really call this is not really hot compared to those places. It's like 36, 39 degrees over there, clocking in at times, and you definitely have to adapt to it. It can be hard to breathe at times, that's right.
Yeah, to beat the locals in those conditions would have been just so tough. Yeah, I mean, for this isn't so hot. today for Auckland,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
when we had the Nationals last year, it was
I
in
heard about
November,
that, yeah.
and
the
we're
venue
going
was
to
packed as well.
Yeah.
So it's pretty humid. Yeah.
we're going to be back at the same venue at North Shore Club
Yeah.
next week, and it will be warm again.
Definitely.
It gets warm up the back, I can tell you, standing there all day.
Yeah.
And for the players on the court must have been tough as well. It's a different type of heat. It's a New Zealand heat.
Definitely.
That's a good shot. Oh, great recovery there.
Sure. It's good movement from both players. Tried to slot it.
That's a good lob. Nice
Great
indeed.
lob.
And now he's in good position.
Didn't really do much with it there. It's a bit tight.
Can you call
I'd
it
give
that?
that a let. Made a good effort to play the ball.
But
I think he deserved the let though.
yeah.
The ball wasn't exactly fading away.
So he was basically, when he went, he was even with the ball.
Yeah.
So that would
Tried
mean
to go around him, but
Right.
I guess it wasn't enough for the refs.
Well, last week the two boys were having to do the sweeping up, particularly Lwamba, because he lost early.
Yeah, that's
There you
funny.
go.
Yeah. Saw that a couple times.
Yeah, when you're playing in those hot conditions in India or KL, I think it was, you're just going through so much fluid.
Yeah, you're sculling water in between sets, definitely. But you kind of get used to it as you
Right.
go in through the tournaments, yeah.
But then there must be some cold conditions around New Zealand at times. You've played in some.
Winter in New Zealand can be very tough.
Yeah.
Very tough.
Yeah, you sort of go into some sports clubs, some squash clubs, and there's like,
It's an ice box.
yeah, there's a mist or fog in there.
In the lockers, yeah.
And that can't help with the ball as well.
No. You have to really use a lot of height just to get the ball to the back.
So, just a couple of questions there from Joel ARSCOTT of the referee. Nothing too much there, go.
That is.
I don't know how
Still
that
managed
stayed
to
in.
volley it.
Now, who's going to go cross first?
And say Joel. Oh, it's post.
Gee, that's skirting with the line, isn't it?
Yeah.
That-
Scott's okay.
Put away.
Don't really see Joel dive off him.
Well, he kept his head there, Lwamba, because when you know that your opposition's on the ground, your
Yeah,
temptation
yeah.
is to do all sorts of silly stuff.
I know.
And he almost got to it.
Just keep it straight. Up it deep.
Right, so just the 1 point lead now. It's taken a bit of work to get to 3-2, and this is the third.
Very long beginning of the set.
Not unusual for these two.
Yeah, for sure.
And this time too much on that lob.
Shouldn't go
And we'll see something, I would say, well, possibly similar in the second semi-final. And we have Temwa Chileshe up against Elijah Thomas, and those two players have played each other plenty of times as well.
I'm sure, yeah. Definitely.
What do you expect with that, with Elijah against Tim?
I think it's going to be a good match. I don't see a clear winner right now, definitely, but I think it's definitely one to watch.
Yeah. I mean, these four and a couple of others every now and then, but these four in particular are just so tight on who wins each
definitely.
day, isn't it?
They've all got pretty good rivalries, yeah. I'd say.
So we're just getting a couple of errors creeping into Joel's game now.
Maybe feeling it a bit.
And I mean,
Very good sportsmanship from Joel there. Taking the left instead of the stroke.
oh, great change of direction.
It's a great post though. Just taking it very early there. Oh, it's a lot of work.
You could see Lwamba check where his opponent was.
Yeah.
Where was Joel? Where am I going to play it?
It's good court sense.
So that was good skills. I mean,
Yeah,
should you as a player at this level be checking on your your
I'd
opposition?
say at times quick glances definitely helps. Yeah. It's great.
I think
length,
that lob, he's used it a lot in the fourth game.
he hasn't gotten it high enough exactly. I think Lwamba's volleyed most of them.
It's almost as if he needs the time to recover.
Yeah, true. Maybe he's starting to feel a bit of fatigue.
Gave that one away. Basically said, yeah, I played this bad.
The obvious stroke.
Just zooming around the court.
It's great movement.
Well, that was a lot more assertive from Joel, wasn't it?
Yeah.
He needed a point like that.
Needs some momentum to get back in this one.
Yeah, he'd been struggling the last few points just to work out what to do.
I think this is the first game where he's been down actually.
Yeah. I mean, there were some good wheels there from Lwamba, but wasn't enough. In the end, a good powerful shot from Joel.
It's a better lob. Opening up the court with that boast there.
Oh.
He got it. Can try to shut him out. Bit of a pressure session here for Lwamba.
Again, some good running around the
Yeah.
court, but not quite enough. So a couple of good points there from Joel. Keeping
Good
his head.
response, yeah. Definitely. Keeping us up in this match. That's a tired mistake.
Yeah. He's just run all over the court the last 2 points. You could forgive him for doing that, although he did lose the point, and now it's only the 1 point advantage.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Second ball
On the full as well.
big point here. 7 or 8-6 can be a huge difference, but it's a bit too
Joel
easy now.
just found himself in a position he didn't want to be in and said, that's it, I've lost this point. Quite a vital point as well.
Didn't have to go for that.
Yeah, that was almost tiredness in that shot.
Yeah.
You know, the feet weren't quite working to where he wanted to be. So even if this does go in straight to Lwamba at the moment, you'd have to say it's been a battle to get to straight.
Yeah, definitely. It's been a very close 3 games. As expected.
That was a nice shot. He was able to take that on the full
Very early.
and being able to change his body direction there really helped Lwamba on that one. And now game ball.
Putting the towel in here, yeah.
Okay. Well, Gabe Yam, straight games in the end, but Lwamba, he's going to be feeling a little bit tired.
Yeah, definitely. I think he felt it a bit there towards the end, yeah.
I mean, considering it was straight,
Yeah.
you know,
Tough to
he
reset
looks
it,
as though he's been through a 5-setter, doesn't he?
True.
Yes. Well, Gabe Yam, thank you very much for helping me out there on this, the first men's semi-final, and it is Lwamba Joel winning in straight games, albeit a tough contest over Joel ARSCOTT. We'll be back with the second women's semi very shortly.